My paper presented here at the IOTA conference in Volos in 2023 is about the practical dialogue between the Eastern Orthodox and Oriental Orthodox Christians, also called Chalcedonian and Non Chalcedonian Christians, with reference to their division at the Council of Chalcedon in 451, which unfortunately has not yet been healed. The misunderstanding was mostly on a Christological level. At Chalcedon, in order to speak of the divinity and humanity of Christ, they decided to speak of two natures, in Greek, two physeis. Some groups from the Alexandrian and Antiochian traditions refused to accept the new terminology, as they felt that it was dividing Christ. They remained faithful to the terminology of Saint Cyril of Alexandria, speaking of one nature, that is in Greek, mia physis, of God, the Word incarnate. That is, speaking of Christ being fully God and fully man without mixture. Today, these are called the Coptic, Ethiopian, and Syrian Orthodox churches, and include also the Armenian Church. After 451, some meetings took place in order to have dialogue, but without success. In the 20th century, a theological dialogue began at the non-official level in 1963 and became official in 1985. The first meetings were very fruitful, and the theologians delegated by their different patriarchates and churches were able to publish reports saying that after serious studies, the Christology of both families of churches could be accepted, and that the terminology of Saint Cyril of Alexandria, a great and common church father, was orthodox and not monophysite. Other topics were then discussed, including canonical, liturgical, pastoral, and other questions, also with some positive results. Two main topics of discussion that remain to be agreed upon concern A, the lifting of anathemas of certain saints accepted or not by the two families of churches, and B, the enumeration of the 7 ecumenical councils, as the Oriental Orthodox recognize only 3, that is Nicaea, Constantinople I, and Ephesus. Scholars such as Professor Fidas and Father Erickson have written articles about these two topics with adequate answers. Some conservative churches, monasteries, and theologians, however, have expressed resistance to some parts of these official reports, asking in particular for some of the terminology of the texts of the dialogue to be reworked in order to learn to know each other better and to inform the clergy and faithful about the dialogue. Emphasis was given in some of the texts embodying the recommendations of the dialogue to practical dialogue between the two families of churches. In fact, this became my work through the publication of articles and books, and also at the practical level since 1993, and especially with my book, which was published here at the Academy of Volos in 2016, and is now put on the website of the Academy for free. This is a gift of the Academy. It is very unfortunate that since 2014, nothing serious has been done for this dialogue. Then there have been political difficulties with the wars in the Middle East, with the present events, among them the problems since 2018 between the patriarchates of Constantinople and Moscow, and now since February 2022, the war in Ukraine. Splits have occurred as some Eastern Orthodox, but also some Oriental Orthodox, have taken sides. This is a fact. Thus, the official dialogue seems to be stuck, maybe for decades. In such circumstances, what can be done and what is possible? After thinking about it, it seems to me that dialogue can continue only through practical and pastoral dialogue, and only at the local level and in certain regions. For example, in North America, especially in the USA, there are assemblies of bishops, Eastern Orthodox and Oriental Orthodox, which were quite active in their dialogue some years ago and should now reactivate their relations and actions. In Western Europe, where I live, in Switzerland and Paris, work could also be done on a country-by-country basis. In Europe, the Oriental Orthodox are now organizing an association of all their parishes in the European Union. That is not only in Western Europe, but also in so-called Central Europe. The Eastern Orthodox should do likewise. Such new instances could be very positive for their bilateral dialogue. This bilateral dialogue has the potentiality to be one of the most fruitful ecumenical dialogues, as the two families have so much in common in theology, praxis, ecclesiology, canonical life, spiritual and monastic experience, etc. Now, here at the present IOTA conference, we should profit from the presence of many very qualified theologians and thinkers of both the Eastern Orthodox and Oriental Orthodox churches to promote the revival of the dialogue and to think all together, intellectually and practically, what can be done and how and where and with whom. And IOTA, with its spirit of dialogue, is a privileged place in which to discuss and revive this bilateral theological dialogue.